Will the Bears be 2-0 at week's end? We will find out shortly and discuss it. What's up, guys? It is Believe in Bears. Appreciate you guys for jumping in and listening to us wherever you may get your podcast. We are the Blitz. Marshall Harris, 9-year NFL vet, Clay Harbor, and I am Gabe Ramirez. And we are the trio that is going to be breaking down this Bears game against the Houston Texans. All right, fellas, let's start thing the way we always do. We call it Truth Be Told, some conversations that maybe it might have us on opposite sides of the fence. Clay, what you got?
Truth be told, starting us off, the biggest issue with the offense last week, it wasn't Coleman Shelton. It wasn't Rome Odunze. It wasn't DeAndre Swift. It wasn't Caleb Williams.
Ooh.
It was Shane Waldron. It was Shane Waldron. Going back and watching the tape, I saw he did try to do some mixing of formations, personnel groupings, but looking back at it, every first down you're trying to run the ball. I know you want to bring your quarterback along slowly. You want to give him an opportunity to fill the game. The easiest time to throw the football is on first down because the defense has no idea what you're doing. Then the Bears get stuffed on first down because everybody knows they're going to try to run the ball on first down all game. And then second down, second and long, everybody knows a pass coming. Now you got protections, zone blitzes, schemes. Waldron needs to take the restrictor plates off. I know he's a rookie, but you think you're helping him, but you're hurting him. Throw the ball on first downs. We're going to need some regular dropbacks. They're assuming the rollout's coming. They're assuming the screen, the quick pass. You're going to have to do some different things. And the second thing is, obviously, we talked about Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet's your one. Switch up the personnel groups a little better. DeAndre Swift can play inside. He can play outside. He can play in the slot. Move him around. There's so many things you can do with this offense. Truth be told, Shane Waldron was the biggest thing holding back the Bears offense this week.
I'm not buying it. The biggest issue was the center position in Coleman Shelton. Watching play after play after play where he just it was like the inverse collapse of the offensive line. Weird. Come on, man. Like, Clay, I hear what you're saying, what you're trying to be provocative. But no, the only thing you're provoking is my belief that the Bears offensive line needs serious work in the middle.
Okay, Marshall, we love Ryan Poles. It's a consensus not only here on this podcast, but across Chicago. But there has to be some sort of blame if Coleman Shelton in the center position is the biggest thing wrong with this offense heading into the season, right? Especially after week one and watching. I mean, this was a position where he brought in two new bodies, right? It's not as though we're working with the same people that were there last year, two new bodies. So essentially we're saying these two new people are ineffective and unable to get the job done. But I think some blame needs to be put a little bit, not blame, I guess I should say, but I feel like.
No, I think it's blame.
On Caleb Williams, right? I think, I understand that, rookie quarterbacks have had that record for a reason, 14-1. And I get it. You're facing top tier starting NFL defense for the first time in your career because you didn't necessarily see it at that speed in the preseason. But you did have a little happy feet out there. You did, it looked you looked a bit disheveled out there in times where, you, not us, you, Caleb Williams, said that you don't get nervous and you don't get, you don't feel.
Oh, no, he did. He rushed his drops and everything. And he said that's why he had too much juice on the ball. He said that afterwards. He said after looking at the film, he's like, yeah, I rushed my drops. He had more problems than anticipated. It's not that he wasn't ready for the moment. He just got a little too amped up, and that's fine. So, yeah, Caleb Williams, some of the I guess blame is the word we're using. The blame game, it touches all parts, but he gets some of it as well. But I'll start with Colton. And they still don't know what they're going to do because Ryan Bates, last time I checked, as of Thursday, hadn't practiced this week. So it's going to be a tough one, but it's going to be a tough task ahead of them with with the Houston Texans. That's why my truth be told is because the only way they're going to do well is if the defense plays well, guys. So my truth be told is the defense will surprise the Houston Texans, and the Bears will have 2 interceptions again against CJ Stroud. Truth be told, because I'll tell you why. I'm telling you, this defense is. Listen, am I here for the top 5? No, as a whole. Am I here for the secondariest top 5 in the league? That I can get behind. Tyreek Stevenson is an absolute dog. When you see Jalen Johnson cutting off the field the way that he has, and then you are forced then to throw it into Tyreek Stevenson and a guy like Kevin Byard, I see CJ Stroud making mistakes, especially up the middle. Clay, you talked about the linebackers last week and how powerful they are. I see Tremaine Edmonds getting his first one of the season, and then I see
I see Tyreek pulling up number 2.
Gabe,
2 interceptions, Bears.
Gabe. CJ Stroud last year threw 23 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in the entire 17-game season.
Didn't play the Bears.
This guy doesn't give the ball away. He doesn't turn the ball over. You are not going to get those interceptions from CJ Stroud. Okay, the defensive line impressed me. Without Montez Sweat doing much, looking at the film, Montez Sweat was probably the third, fourth best defensive lineman that played in that game last week, which is what we wanted because we know Montez Sweat is going to have his games where he gets a lot of pressure, he gets some hits, some hurries, and some sacks. But CJ Stroud, you're going to have to come after him a different way. I think the way you come after CJ Stroud is you make him be patient. You try to stop the run game, and you make him be patient. This guy has shown time and time again he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league against blitz. He's good against pressure. He has amazing pocket presence, and that's why he was only able to throw 5 interceptions last year because he's so good in these moments. And the other reason he's not going to throw 2 picks is because Joe Mixon had 130 yards last week.
He's not going to have 130 yards against the Bears, though.
No, I think the Bears. But you look at the first half. You look at the first half of Sunday's game. The Bears defense gave up 70+ rushing yards.
Tony Pollard was out here dragging them up and down the field in the first half of the last game.
Yes.
So you think he's going to have 130?
He could have 130. I think you're grossly underestimating CJ Stroud and how poised he is in the pocket. Okay, 5 interceptions total in 18 games, 19 games played. He had 3 games where he's thrown an interception. Now, if you could study the film against Arizona last year and figure out how he threw 3 picks in one game, fine. But he's only had 3 games where he's actually turned the ball over through the air. He had a single interception in 2 games, and he had 3 interceptions against Arizona last season. You're hopeful. I like it. And if they do it, now we're talking about a top 5 defense. If that's what happens, if that's the way it goes, but I can't see it happening. I think, truth be told, that's not the way it's going to go down. But speaking of truth be told,
yes,
truth be told, Velus Jones Jr. is going to have a role in this game.
We know this already.
No. But he got here's the problem. He got peeled off of special teams, obviously. I don't think that's where it's going to be. I think he's going to be a part of the offense. No Rome Odunze, no Keenan Allen as it stands because they haven't practiced this week. Tell me why he's not going to have some type of role, whether it's in a hybrid role or whatever. I mean, we saw him even after he fumbled the kickoff. He was on the field on offense. I think you're going to see more of that this week. Not that I want to see it, but I think that's the bottom line. I think injuries play a part in that.
How does the locker room play? Something like that, right? I mean, the muff punt, something like that. Like how are the players feeling in that locker room, knowing just like we do? And I agree with Marshall that a guy like Velus is going to have a role in the offense this week.
No, if the locker room's going to try to pick him up, they love their guy. And I mean, like if I was in there, I'd be like, yo, bro, you got this. Give him his opportunity. You want to pull for him, but looking at it objectively, you're Ryan Poles, you're Matt Eberflus. You can't let this guy lose you another game. If they lost the game by 3 because of that booted kickoff return, that's on Poles. That's on Eberflus because they've seen it a billion times before.
Clay, he's still on the roster. That's why I think he's still going to be a part of what's going on. Otherwise, if you don't believe he can help you, why is he on the roster?
Yeah.
All right. Here's what they're doing next week. Real quick, Gabe. Here's what they need to do. You need to do 2 tight end sets. You move in Mercedes Lewis, but obviously Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift, and then you have a guy who's played in this league for 10 years. I played with this guy. DeAndre Carter has made plays on the offense. We saw what he can do when the ball's in his hand in the return game last week. I think it's obviously going to be DJ. Then it's going to be Tyler Scott. Then it's going to be DeAndre Carter. Velus Jones isn't going to see the field much because you're going to do more 2 tight end sets. You're probably going to have a couple of 2 running back sets. DeAndre Swift is good enough where he could play slot if he actually needed him to. I'm not saying they're going to do that, but you can move him around. So I think it's going to be more 2 tight ends, DeAndre Carter, even with Carter, Jones, and the receiver core we got without Rome and Keenan, it's probably better than last year's receiving core. Still,
no one's arguing that. No one's arguing that at all.
I mean, we still have DJ Moore, right? Just want to make sure we still got DJ Moore. As long as we got DJ Moore, I think most Bears fans are going to be happy about it.
Got to throw the ball to DJ Moore, though.
Yes.
Got to throw the ball to him.
And I'm sure he'll hopefully get some
more
targets.
This is all back on Clay's guy, Shane Waldron, to design it, draw it up, and scheme it up. Right, Clay?
And Caleb. I mean, Caleb, people talk about how young he is. You know how old CJ Stroud is, Gabe? How old is CJ Stroud?
24.
He's 22. He's 22. Caleb Williams, 22. Their birthdays are a month apart. These guys are the exact same age.
But one of them had an entire year of NFL experience under his
belt. More
experience.
Experience matters. Obviously, more of a pro-style offense. But these guys are the exact same age. You saw he was able to do as a 21-year-old rookie. Caleb should be able to do something similar.
Let's look at the offense as a whole. Of course, truth be told, being wrapped up now, sticking with the offense, having talked about Velus and now this Bears what this Bears offense should look like on Sunday. I mean, that Texas defense is nice. It's not like we're just you can talk about the Bears offense, but it's about who they're going up against. They had a tough test in the Tennessee Titans, but this defense is going to be a different kind of an animal, right, Clay?
No, the defense is legit, and then one of my former teammates, obviously, is the head coach, and D'Amico Ryans, that is, and then Matt Burke is the defensive coordinator, and these guys are good, and they got two really good edge rushers. So that's what I'm looking for. If we're talking matchups, I want to see how Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright had a hell of a game. Braxton Jones played solid too, but now you got Danico Autry. Danico Autry's out. You have Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter that are going to be coming off the edge here, right? The
Bears fans know Danielle Hunter all too well.
Yeah.
And this time with the Vikings doing whatever he wanted.
I almost had a Danielle Hunter Bears jersey.
Yeah, these guys have a plethora of moves. I mean, these guys are like me on the basketball court. They got to spin. They got to crossover. They go left. They go right. They can do it all. I mean, these are the worst guys. I hate a blocking guy.
So they're not slashers. They're not slashers. They're like you on the basketball court. They're not slashers.
Marshall, I was going to say this. Clay's basketball game is like Nate Davis. It's unseen. We haven't seen it. It doesn't exist.
The best ability is what again? Availability, I believe.
Availability.
Marshall, this is I don't want to say scare, right? Because I think we have confidence in this Bears offense, but when you're looking at this defense, are you expecting another offensive output similar to that against the Tennessee Titans?
I expect the Bears to play better offensively, but the Tennessee Titans defense is better, the Texans defense is better than the Titans. I'm intrigued because my big concern, as you guys know, has been offensive line, still is offensive line. Nate Davis effectively was benched in the last game. So I'm wondering what's going to happen if Ryan Bates can't go and Nate Davis is forced out there. Now, a lot of pressure. The strength of the Titans defensive line is in the middle. The strength of the Texans defensive line, as Clay just mentioned, is on the edges. So I want to know how they adjust at the tackle position after having a solid game from the tackle spot, and whether or not they can run the football inside now, since you're not having to run directly at the strength of another team. I think the biggest thing for me is, can the Bears convert on third down and move the ball up and down the field? Because that's not what we saw in game one. They won in spite of it, but it's not like Caleb Williams was moving the sticks. So my big question is, offensively, can the offensive line hold up well enough that the rushing game actually not only exists, but prospers a little bit? Because we did not see that in week one.
Yeah, we definitely want to see a little bit more from the run game. I think just as a whole, I think it's what you're saying is right? You're going to get a better offense, but you're also going to be going up against a better defense. And I think what that equates to is something that Bears fans are going to be.
I don't expect the Bears to put up a bunch of points on the Texans. I don't expect the Bears to win this game. I have very low expectations for this game, but I think even with a loss, somebody told me on this podcast that it's not whether or not you win, it's how you win or how you play. And that's the biggest thing over the course of the season, because you want to progressively get better from game to game. I think Caleb Williams can play a better game and the Bears still lose, but I can still feel better about the Bears as a team, even if they're 1-1, depending on what happens with Caleb Williams and the rest of the offense.
Yeah, because the pressure's not on them to be a Super Bowl contender, right? And I think that's the good thing about where the Bears are at right now. They can look at this game on Sunday and be like, all right, wait till I grow up. I'm gonna whoop that ass. like wait till I'm gonna get there. Wait, but right now, all right, you got this one. And I think that's something that they can hang their hat on. But in order for them to be victorious, and again, I will be at that game on Sunday. So if you're going down to tailgate, holler at me. The defense of the Chicago Bears has to pretty much have a repeat performance of Sunday, where they're gonna have to limit their quarterback, the opposing quarterback. They're gonna have to stop that run. And I don't know. I look at this defense. Which group of the three? Linemen, linebackers, secondary is going to be the most important or pivotal in order for the Bears to win this game, Marshall?
It's got to be the defensive line, because you got to get pressure on CJ Stroud. If you don't, it's over before it even starts. The Bears secondary is great. the Bears linebacking core is great, but if you're not getting the pressure up front, it's target practice for CJ Stroud dropping back every play. He's a guy who's really kind of unfazed by the rush. At least he has been through a year in his career. He's just unfazed by the rush. That's why he doesn't make a lot of mistakes, as Clay pointed out. So if you don't get hands on him and hit him and put him to the ground a few times, he's going to be so comfortable and he's going to be slick. And it's not going to matter how good your coverage is, because it's not going to be a coverage sack situation. He's going to go through his reads, find the guy, and be done.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. I mean, that's important. Linebackers important. Defensive line's important. You want to get some pressure. You got to clog up those running lanes. Like we said, Joe Mixon, 160 yards rushing last week. I mean, come on now. That's
buck 30.
Right? Yeah, buck 30. I was looking at that.
I was like,
did he have 160 or 130, Marshall?
No,
I think he had 160. He had 160. I'm looking at the stats right now. According to ESPN, he had 30 carries for 160 yards and a touchdown, 5.3 yards per carry. That's last week. 30 carries, and that brings me to another point, getting off topic here. But when you let a guy get 30 carries, you let him get into the flow of the game. The Bears gave 4 running backs carries, right? Let him get into the flow of the game. Let DeAndre Swift get a bunch of carries. You saw him at the end of the game start to improve. But when I look at the defense, the matchup that I want to see, this defensive backfield says, hey, we're a top 5 defensive backfield. We can stop anybody. We got Jalen Johnson. You're going to have your chance to show it this week. You got a big-time quarterback, but you got some big-time receivers. Nico Collins is the real deal. And they're going to move him around. So Tyreek Stevenson, I'm looking at you. Every snap, you're either going to have Nico Collins, Tank Dell, or Stephon Diggs at your garden. I'm going to be honest. They're going to come after you. They ain't coming after Jalen Johnson. They've seen him lock up number 1 receivers his whole career. These last couple of years, they're coming at Tyreek Stevenson. So what I want to see matchup-wise, can Tyreek Stevenson hold up against Nico, against Tank, against Stephon Diggs, who had 2 touchdowns last week? To me, that's the biggest matchup. I have faith in Byard. I think Brisker will do a decent job in the backfield. But to me, okay, let's see how we can do against our second quarterback versus their second and third wide receivers, whoever they put over there, because they got 3 guys that could be ones on most teams in the league.
Yeah, there's going to be people in each position group that are going to be leaned on, right? As you mentioned, Tyreek Stevenson is going to get picked on. I think on the defensive line, you look at a guy like Andrew Billings, who's going to need to be a disruptor up the middle to make CJ Stroud uncomfortable. But when you're looking at the linebacking group, right, like Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, they're going to have a lot of routes crossing the middle right there in that.
Oh, you want the pain. You want them to bring the pain.
That's what I'm saying. So I need my linebackers to really, just clog that space up.
The linebacker's going to step up, man. You saw what Edmonds and Edwards were doing last week. These are 2 of the best linebackers in the league. TJ
So
Edwards
are we picking
coverage?
3 different? Are we picking 3 different position groups? Each of us picking a different one. I said line. Clay said secondary. You're saying linebacking core.
I'm saying linebacking core. I think because I think the offense is going to get off, right? Like I think it's not as though we're going to shut them down or the defensive line is going to we want them to be the disruptor, but I don't think they're going to stop their offense. And I think the secondary, they're going to throw the ball, right? And those guys, like you mentioned, 3 good receivers, they're going to catch. So it's like about limiting the damage. And I think the linebacking core can be. We saw TJ Edwards do it last week on a great 3rd down stop. I mean, more plays like that against the Texans can at least keep the game close. The line's 6.5, guys. 6.5. Like, you know how rare it is for the line to be that high in the NFL. I mean, that they're telling you that there's a gap.
I mean, they're at home. They're a better team. They're at home. They've done more. Their quarterback is experienced. All it takes is a couple of bad plays, and this thing can get real ugly.
I would take the 6.5. I hate to say it. I would take the 6.5 with the Texans right now after watching the film. I watched the film of the Colts in the Texans game too. I watched the Bears, obviously, and looking at it, to me, it looks like a blowout. The Bears were lucky to stay close to the Titans. There were a couple plays away getting the door shut on them and bad.
It was 17-0.
Yeah.
It was so bad. I mean, I know all of us watching that game like, what in the world is going on here?
Yeah. Fun fact about the spread is 6.5 is a lot of points. I was a part of the largest, well, at the time, it was the largest spread in NFL history when I was with the Jaguars. At the point in the season, we were winless, and we're going against the Denver Broncos when Peyton Manning was just massacring his MVP year. And it was like a 23 something point spread. We had Blaine Gabbert. or Chad Henne and
What was
Blaine
the final
Gabbert.
score? What was the final score?
No, we ended up keeping it close within 9. It was like 9-point game. They won. We were all like, yeah, like a moral victory. There's no moral victories in that.
9 points.
I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
I'm mad that you're really celebrating a moral victory. But if you were winless, I get it. Because like when you're winless, you're like, we need something.
And we ended up winning a few games. We ended up winning like 4 or 5 games.
That was it. That was the beginning of the snowball right there. All right. We are Believing Bears, man. I appreciate you guys for listening to everything. Of course, Marshall Harris, 9-year NFL vet Clay Harbor. I am Gabe Ramirez. And now it is time for our last 5 minutes of the show where we talk about a little bit about predictions, talk a little bit about last things that are on our mind, and we have an opportunity for you guys to interact with us. We call it At Us Then, where you can find Marshall on air at M Harris on air, Clay Harbs 82, and then I'm Chicago_Gabe. All right, somebody hit us up. And speaking of gambling, it's funny because that's what this question is about. It says, "Sup, boys? Help me make some money. The over/under is 45.5, and I want to bet the over. Should I have faith in this Bears offense, or should I fade myself and bet the under?" That came from
45.5. Take the over. Take the over.
Take the over.
Yeah.
What I like to do when I'm thinking about these things, I think, all right, 20 something, right? So let's say the team has 20. They need 26 to 20. It needs to be the score. Can the Bears put up 21 points against this team?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, Bears put up 0 or 9.
I saw the Colts put up points against the Texans. It's not like the Texans were losing that game most of the game. By the way,
Colts completed 9 passes. It's not like they were just methodical drives. Anthony Richardson reared back and threw his 70-yard pass, scored a touchdown. He completed 9 passes.
Clay, that pass he threw off his back foot was wild.
Exactly, but I'm saying there was like 3 big plays there, and they left some on the field too. The Colts did.
Listen,
Jonathan
Clay,
Taylor only averaged 3 yards a carry. Jonathan Taylor.
But here's the thing: it's hard, like, to really watch that. Like, we're talking like Bears fans or people that are covering the team. But when you watch that game again, the Bears game, that is, it's like, how can you like confidently say the Bears offense is capable of either staying in the game or putting up that many points when we saw, I mean, a level of ineptitude that was just,
you're literally walking on faith.
Here's what I'm saying: the ball's going to be in the air. It's going to be a matter of is Caleb Williams throwing pick sixes? Because that's still 6 points on the board to that over/under. Yeah. I think it's gonna be wide open. So my point is, either they're gonna be neck and neck and scoring back and forth, or it's gonna be a blowout and they're still gonna get to 46 points.
Well, I'm hoping for the over because I'm going there, so I want to see an exciting game. So I mean,
I'm taking the under,
but I want points.
You're taking the under.
Bears defense will do a solid job, but I still think after watching that first half last week, I think Joe Mixon's going to get off and they're going to pound the rock. You know, D'Amico Ryans does like to pound the rock, and I think they'll throw some quick check downs. But Bears, to me, without Keenan and Rome, you don't know. They don't practice on Thursday. They probably ain't going to play. You know, if you don't practice on Thursday's your last real work day. Friday's a work day, but it's mostly red zone. Third down, it's a shorter practice. We used to call them fast Fridays in the league. So no Thursday, you ain't playing. So I'm going into this thinking they're not playing.
So you don't think Rome Odunze or Keenan Allen are going to be on the field on Sunday?
Rome Odunze should not touch the field if he's feeling any sort of discomfort whatsoever. Like,
not worth it.
Well, neither one of them should. It's week 2. Get your guys right. It's if it's week 15, 16, and guys are saying I can play through it, that's different.
So
we're talking about week 2.
So is DJ Tyler Scott? Does he bump up all the way?
Yeah, Tyler Scott's a 2.
So DJ Tyler Scott Carter. And oh my gosh, that's bad.
Yeah. That's bad, but you're going to have Gerald Everett who can play some slot, and then obviously Cole Kmet, 2 tight end sets, and then Marshall's boy Velus Jones.
Yeah, a lot of
my boy. Just to be clear, he's not my boy.
Hey, pick Cole Kmet if you're looking for gambling. Pick Cole Kmet on the overs because I do agree with that. That's going to be the case. All right, final score predictions for this Sunday Night Football.
Go ahead, Clay. Hit us.
Yeah, Clay.
I'm gonna get a low scoring affair, 24-10. Texans. I'm sorry, 24-10 Texans. I don't see the gift. Punt block return for a touchdown. The gift where Will Levis toss it underhand to Tyreek Stevenson happening. I think the Bears offense has a lot to figure out. You're losing your 2 top receivers. The running game didn't look good. Obviously, with the center in the middle, Ryan Bates is out. We don't know what Nate Davis is going to look like. I'm taking another tough game, a little bit of improvement, but the Texans are a Super Bowl contending team, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be that close.
That's interesting. I'm going to say it's going to be 29-17. That's
okay.
29-17 is what I have it. Bears get a couple of touchdowns. Bears turn it over, short field. Bears defense able to hold field goals. And then I think CJ Stroud's probably going to get his 2 or 3 touchdowns. Joe Mixon's going to do his thing. Like it's hard for me to see the Bears stopping the Texans for 60 minutes. They may have a couple of great defensive stands on drives and everything else, but I think they're just going to get worn down. To Clay's credit, where he talked about Mixon and just having a bell cow like that. It wasn't just that he got the 30 carries. He also had 3 catches for 33 yards. He caught all 3 of his targets. He could do a lot, man.
Yeah. One statistic that really stood out to me last week, fellas, was time of possession. When you look at the Texans versus the Indianapolis Colts, Texans had the ball for 40 minutes. Indianapolis Colts just 20. So it really boils down to, like you mentioned, Clay, can Joe Mixon, be that bell cow and handle the rock for them, or can the Bears have some sustained drives, right? Because if they end up doing what they did last week with a ton of 3 and outs, the Texans are going to make you pay. And so I have it 31-20. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but 31-20 Texans. I think CJ Stroud with an added amount of opportunities, whether via 3 and outs or some ill-advised interceptions from Caleb Williams, I think he will capitalize on that. And I think the Bears offense, as you mentioned in the beginning of the show, Marshall, will be better. So they will put some points on the board. And I do think, though, the defense will put them in good position, have them a good field position and allow them to have a couple of field goals as well. So that's why I come up with 31-20. But damn, all 3 of us got the Bears taking the L. Hopefully we're wrong, baby.
I hope so.
It's a scheduled L. It's the second game of the season.
And it's inside, and it's at Houston. Like the noise is going to be. You're trying to take those. You're trying to hear the.
I will say this: if you look at the Texas schedule, like the first 4 games, like how we do this. We all do this, right, with our teams. I'm sure the Texans thought 4-0 to start the season, right?
Yeah.
So, but my thing is this: we're in the middle of that, so you could get that little surprise in there where a team kind of just is already looking at 4-0, and
any given Sunday.
The coach and the players are doing this game by game. No one's overlooking the Bears. I think adding the marquee of a Sunday night football game means they know they're not lost in the shuffle. Everyone's bringing their A game for Sunday night football. Clay, when you played in primetime, what was that like?
Oh yeah, primetime is different. But you got to look at this, Gabe. That's their division rival, the team they played against last year to go to the playoffs to win the division. So maybe a little bit of a drop because they just beat their division rival. But Sunday night football, there's not. I mean, the electricity. CJ Stroud wants to show out. These receivers want to show out. These defensive backs, this is going to be a huge game for the Texans. I don't think it's a letdown because it is Sunday night. That keeps the emotion, the energy high. So I think that bodes well for them too. And the home opener, they're at home. They were at Indy last week. So it's tough.
Yeah, it's the home opener. That was in Indy.
I'm drinking all their beer. I'm gonna eat all the burgers that I can in the tailgate. I'm gonna make sure I get my money's worth when I'm out there. And I will be on the pod because Marshall threatened me and said that if I don't take my laptop, it's going to be problems for everybody.
Yeah.
So
he did.
It's going to be trouble.
All right. So make sure you guys check us out after the Bears play the Houston Texans. So we're doing it on Monday then? We'll do our podcast Monday.
It'll be up on Monday. The pod will be up on Monday.
Pod will be up on Monday. That'll be the next one. We'll give you guys a recap on the game. Hopefully we're talking about a Bears victory. But if not, we'll be able to break down what went wrong in the game. All right. So again, make sure you follow us. M. Harris on air for Marshall Harris, 9-year NFL vet. Clay Harbor, you can check him out at ClayHarbs82. I am Gabe Ramirez. You can follow me at Chicago_Gabe. This is the Believe in Bears podcast. Make sure you stream us wherever you get your podcast. And for the Blitz, we'll see you guys next time.